Good morning, and those that are on streaming as well. It is a glorious day out there. Thank you so much for coming this morning. Really appreciate the attendance here and across the campus as well. It's going to be a great day. We'll have convocation right after this, and we're going to celebrate a naming opportunity for one of our fantastic leaders, two of them actually, with Don and Nancy Lovers yet today too. But thank you all too. I do have some notes I'm going to stick to, I hope, and if not, I'll kind of drift a little bit as well. But that's okay. That's what it's all about, sharing a message today. And I'm just going to say one more time, good morning. There's great excitement on the campus. I could tell that when Marcia and I were doing ice cream the other day with our new students. Lots of selfies with new students, but this was a little bit different this year. Lots of selfies with parents. And so that's okay too. They understand that we are part of their extended family. I think, and that's what I felt throughout that period of time, and what I've sensed for the last dozen years as well with you. So here we are, starting a new academic year, and I think there's always a great sense of new beginnings as we look at the fall semester, with unique beginnings as well for all that we gather today on campus. My message today, this morning, will contain some ideas and really some news that will showcase our vision for even a better Grand Valley State University. It will cover our values of relevance, integrity, and stewardship and service. And I'm going to tell some stories to go along with that, to show and demonstrate the work that we're doing and how we're striving to make our campus, our community, and our world even better. But I also want to share with you some of the challenges that we face and emphasize how important each one of you are to fulfilling our promises to our students and to each other and those that are investing in Grand Valley State University. There are some challenges, but I know that each one of you is so important to the future of our university. But I can't get over the fact that with new beginnings, this also represents an in for me with this last fall address as president of Grand Valley. As you know, I'll be retiring in June and entering the next phase of my life, really a little bit more focus with our students and grandkids, and now one more on the way in February with our daughter. We have 5 granddaughters, now with a grandson on the way. So that's exciting in our lives. But this particular transition is a fact. It's not a limitation. In fact, I have more energy now than I think that I've ever had, and an excitement about our future here at Grand Valley and what we can do for our students. What we can do our students day in and day out. Well, my goal in this address is to thank you, excite you, and set the course for opportunities that are before us as an institution of higher education, an institution that exists for the greater good. I've said time and again, Matt knows this, the public good that we are delivering for each individual, yes, but for society as well. So it's not an either or, but a both and. So first off, thank you for the Board of Trustees members that are here today. Appreciate your attendance. And they're always steadfast in ensuring that our mission is the North Star as we educate and contribute to our region. Thank you for that. We're also fortunate to have these accomplished men and women donate their time, their energies, and their boundless talents to Grand Valley State University. Thank you. And also with us are members of the Faculty Senate and its chair, Felix Nagasa, and student senators led by Rachel Jenkin. And also, thank you for the members of my cabinet who bring such precision and integrity to their decision-making in their roles at this university. I appreciate their depth of experience and their commitment to our campus community. Terry Losi, Rachel Siglo, and others. Excuse me, and others in my university have been the MVP over my entire time at Grand Valley State University. And I've always known and let you know that my lifelong partner is essential in my work. My wife, Marcia, is dedicated to our mission, and she, in her role as First Lady, exemplifies that role. She joins us today, as she had for so many other occasions on campus. I love you so much. So for the last dozen years or so, Marcia and I have followed a deeply held belief of ours. Be good stewards. Be good stewards. Leave the university better than what we found it. We followed tremendous leadership and endeavored to capitalize on the opportunities we have had during our time here together. I want to start off with a quote from the past with you about our great university. And I'll read this quote. Some truths never change. What you find at Grand Valley is true to its foundations. We are a teaching and learning community. Students are at the center of our work. I'm going to say that one more time. Students are at the center of our work. What a powerful charge in our mission statement, shaping student lives. That to me is such a tremendous challenge and obligation to do right by that goal. We have to ensure that we are always improving the intellectual stimulation, the activities, and the ability to provide direction for our students in a positive way. They will then leave Grand Valley continuing to adapt, to lead, and shape societies. This is the essence of lifelong learning. What makes our liberal education commitment so relevant is that it equips students with the ability to adapt and know how to think, unquote. Well, that comes from my first inaugural address, delivered in 2006. There's a little bit of bookends on what I shared there and what I feel today. So we have our roots. We are steady and adaptable, stable and entrepreneurial. And as the French poet and novelist Victor Hugo advised, change your opinions, keep your principles. Change your leaves, but keep your roots intact. Grand Valley State University has strong roots. They extend beyond the reach of any president, any board member, or employee. And we're facing a number of changes in the next few years. And this may cause you some concern, but set those aside, as each of you in your own areas of influence will begin to expand your own leadership in those areas. As you know, there's no shortage of books or theories on leadership, and a constant among them is to disabuse the idea that leadership comes from the top of the organization or institution. It's not true here at Grand Valley State University. Leadership author and teacher John Maxwell put it this way: leadership is a choice you make, not a place you sit. Anyone can choose to become a leader, whether he or she is. You can make a difference no matter where you are, unquote. So it's critical for all of us to understand as we face the retirement of some folks in very key roles here at Grand Valley. Longtime head of human resources, now VP for administrative services, Scott Richardson will be retiring in June, and Vice President for Enrollment Development, Lynn Chick Blue, announced her retirement after 5 decades of service, but has not identified an exact date she'll retire. Chick, you've taken this Laker for a lifetime a little bit too literally. And I'm glad, and we are glad she is with us. Chick has set the example of what it means to be student-centered. She started her job here with one filing cabinet that held the records of all of our students. Yes, that's true. She's been innovative and smart as we've grown and become known for exceptional service. Chick has retained in her heart for students and has made sure that everyone on campus knows that we are involved in recruitment and retention. Thank you, Chick, for your exemplary service to our university and to our students. Scott, where's Scott? All right, there he is, in Laker blue, of course. Scott has spent 41 years working hard for our community, leading HR, for 38 of those years. He has created a climate that focused on the importance of all of you, the people who make this place not only run but excel. Under Scott's leadership, we've created initiatives that speak to our values of respecting the whole person and recognizing that taking care of your lives outside of work is the right thing to do for you, your families, and ultimately for the university as well. Thank you, Scott, for your leadership. But that's only the backdrop. It's time for all of us then to lead. Everyone needs to lead here at this university. Each one of you can lead in your areas and affect positive change. Higher education is changing, as we know, and Grand Valley needs to grow and change too. We've always risen to the challenges that we faced as an institution. Part of our success has been that we put the right people in the right jobs. One can say it's part of the Grand Valley magic, right, Tom Butcher? We can always recognize strategy, but it truly is just that. In an address in 1962 at the University of California, Berkeley, President John F. Kennedy said, "Nothing is more stirring than the recognition of great public purpose. In a time of turbulence and change, it is more true than ever that knowledge is power. For only by true understanding and steadfast judgment we're able to master the challenge of history. If we do this, we must strive to acquire knowledge and apply it with wisdom." And we have great purpose here at Grand Valley State University. We, though, must continue to innovate with knowledge and with wisdom. Provost Maria Cimitile is beginning her second year as provost. I'm so thrilled that she is in that role. And she's continuing our commitment to shared governance and to be responsible to the changing needs of our students. We're carefully choosing on how we deliver education online learning, that becomes more vital to our students. Grand Valley, though, will not lose its high-touch practices as we smartly utilize high-tech methods at our disposal. One of Maria's stated goals is to innovate. She is developing and testing new ideas regularly. Ideas are welcome, but it's going to take all of us working together to meet the challenges that we have as a public university in Michigan. Never compromise on quality is her mantra. Whenever we talk about challenges, we must talk about funding. This spring, we welcome Vice President of Finance, Gregory Sanyel, to campus. Since he's new, can you stand to be recognized? Greg comes to us after a distinguished career in the Coast Guard, finishing off as the Coast Guard Budget Director with managing about $11 billion of assets. He's ready, semper paratus, to lead us where we need to go into the future. So when I retire, you'll still have a retired Coastie captain on staff. So he attended his first Board of Trustees meeting in July, at which the trustees reluctantly voted to raise tuition. And I'm in that same place too. One of our values is to keep Grand Valley education affordable. We are obligated as a public institution to be good stewards of our resources. We work diligently each year to keep our quality high and tuition as low as we can. We're one of the most affordable universities in the state, even though we do receive the second lowest appropriation per student in the state. Greg shared these facts with our trustees. First, if we were funded at the state average per full-time student, we could cut tuition by 18%. State aid for Grand Valley has declined by more than 58% in the last 30 years. I always talk about the tax shift for the public good that we're delivering. Well, you get the idea, though. The real magic comes from providing a quality education with the resources that we have. Doing the best we can with what we have is a mantra that I live by. So not only are we providing quality, we're graduating students in record numbers. The university awarded the most degrees in history during the 17-18 academic year. We awarded the most bachelor's degrees and the most doctoral degrees. Nearly 900, yes, 900 students of color earned their degrees, also the highest in our history, both in number and percentages. I'm thrilled with that number, ladies and gentlemen. Well, these records come as we welcome the news that we know our high school population in Michigan has dipped for these last many years. And so are credit hours that they are taking as well. But we're meeting this challenge in a number of ways, including with a stellar recruitment of first-year students. This incoming freshman class, and the Chick can report, phenomenal academic profile. And that I do appreciate as well, given the dynamics and the demographics as well. So congratulations to Chick and Jody Trzynski on our mission staff, and Michelle Rhodes and financial aid, and Cheryl Soman, our former registrar, now the acting dean in the College of Education, as well as everyone who helps turn visitors into Lakers for a lifetime. And we will dedicate the Aaron and Nancy Lubbers Student Services Center, as I mentioned before, named for President Emeritus Don Lubbers and his wife Nancy later today. The building and the addition of the Laker Experience Suite, and if you haven't been there, it is a sweet suite. And it provides a first-rate introduction to our campus for students and their families who are visiting to the campus. And naming this suite after Don and Nancy is fitting following their dedication to students, totaling more than 3 decades as President and First Lady, and nearly 2 additional decades since their retirement. We want to thank them for their generosity and service to our students and Grand Valley community, so come later this afternoon. Solving the world's biggest problems takes ensembles, not soloists. That comes from the academic and business leader Jeffrey Walker, a philanthropist who founded the Generosity Network. Teams achieve what individuals cannot. So we saw an opportunity to increase our enrollment in the spring-summer session. We had deans working to schedule needed classes, faculty offering online options. We did a social media blitz that included animated videos that reached more than 100,000 people. I was in dreams for students. Everyone working together brought a 4% enrollment hike for the spring-summer enrollment. Teamwork is essential, ladies and gentlemen, and we're at it again for this fall and winter semesters. We have teams working hard on bolstering student success to help retain our students to graduation. And we have a new initiative this year involving faculty, mentors, and first-year students. It's called the Student Success Partnership Network. The goals are to connect faculty with students from their first days on campus. We're actively inviting faculty to participate in our retention and student support efforts. And there's also a peer mentor component to this program. We know that's critically important. We're excited about this mentoring opportunity for faculty, and that by the end of this academic year, I know that we'll be able to report about you how these relationships are working for both faculty members and students. And during my startup meetings with the colleges, I've focused in on that when you have a focus on rigor and relevance, and the relationships that go along with that individually, one student at a time, it will help us with that retention. So, excuse the chemistry in me, but 3 R's equal R. And it works. It works big time. So let's continue to be committed to student success. And as I said in 2006, students are at the center of our work. There's no doubt about it. That's who we are. That's our competitive advantage. They are at the center of all of our work. And in turn then, in helping them succeed while they're here and then after they graduate. Retention and performance is improve when students can concentrate on their studies. We know that. That's why we increased financial aid budget by $5.1 million this year. And we're also able to do that by expanding our team beyond the campus and into the larger community. Our history shows the power of public-private partnerships. Bob and Ellen Thompson from Detroit are part of the Grand Valley team. They believe in us so that we are piloting a scholarship program that helps students who come from hardworking families across Michigan but still can't afford to send their children to college. So we piloted and will continue to do so the Thompson Working Family Scholarship Program in 2011, and we're scaling that up. It has expanded over the years, and we're piloting now another, the Thompson's Achievers Program. Achievers targets returning students who didn't qualify for the Working Family Scholarships as first-year students, but had a successful year and could use the scholarship to finance the rest of their degree. New cohorts of first-year transfers and achievers will receive more than $1 million from the Thompson Scholarship this academic year. The power of a couple is remarkable. So those private dollars and all the others that we have coming to Grand Valley and these public-private partnerships with our excellent teaching are changing lives. Vice President Karen Loth and her team are leading us in our $85 million Laker Effect campaign. Where's Karen? There you go. It will finance scholarships for our students, academic programs, student success efforts, and capital projects. We've raised now over 80% of our goal. 80% of our goal, Karen. Your team is doing a remarkable job. And equally as important, and this is a gold standard, maybe it's even platinum. I think it is platinum. It really pleases me to share that we have over 50% of our faculty and staff giving back to our university. That's a mark of commitment and confidence that we have in this model called Grand Valley State University. That's well above the national average and makes me very, very proud of what it represents. Those of us know the Grand Valley best, support it financially, and trust that our investment for our students and for our collective futures. That's being good stewards of this place called Grand Valley State University. So thank you all for believing in our mission. We now have over 500 donor-funded scholarships at different levels of support that are improving access and affordability for students to attend Grand Valley and to attain that degree. And thanks to the generosity of over 1,100 donors, we opened the game-changing Raleigh J. Finkelstein Hall in our health campus downtown. Yes, we now have a health campus downtown. It's wonderful to see that vision come through over these past years. We began holding classes in May and had a dedication last month. Students and faculty are finding intensive, interactive learning spaces. They now have areas that are designed to make it easy for health teams to work together. We have a third building under construction for our health campus. Trustee John Kennedy and Vice President Mac McLogan worked with state lawmakers to secure just over $29 million in state funding for the Center on Interprofessional Health, which will join Finkelstein and the Cook DeVos Center to allow us to meet the changing dynamics and needs in nursing and health profession programs. If you ever go by on the Ford Freeway, you can see a couple of very large holes in the ground. We will have a formal groundbreaking ceremony for 333 Michigan in October. I know Matt has put thousands, if not millions, of miles. He has destroyed a couple of Fords during the process, not because of accidents, but because the wheels have worn out. But truly, Matt, your efforts in Lansing and in Washington, D.C. Has so made a difference for our university. And in particular, sir, your character and sharp mind continue to be remarkable assets as we navigate these challenging political and financial times. Thank you, sir. And right next to Matt is our General Counsel, Tom Butcher. He was indispensable in his role in securing all the land we needed to expand our campus in downtown Grand Rapids. We recently announced the affordable housing project that will also be part of our campus, and I'd like to recognize Pat Waring and Brian Copeland for their work with the city and the people who live in the surrounding neighborhood. We are, of course, Grand Rapids Urban University. With that, we have to understand the different relationships we have with the stakeholders that are there. It's different than out here in Allendale. And this model now of working with our city leaders and the neighbors is cited as a model for development within the city. And Tom's also leading the way with charter schools and enterprise risk management. Thank you, Tom. I also want to recognize the impressive team, and I say that very clearly, impressive team and facilities who make these buildings move from dreams and paper to a reality. James Moyer, recently retired but still is coming back because he can't leave us, has supervised the building and maintenance of this campus for more than 2 decades and just handed the baton off to Karen Engel. For those that don't know Karen, can you stand up and be recognized? James and now Karen represent the very definition of stewardship, and I am so pleased to see you begin your leadership within facilities planning. And of course, facilities planning has other forces helping them as well in engineering and computing to provide innovative opportunities for students and to benefit our community partners. In addition to classes and lab space for our health professions, the Center for Interprofessional Health will house Applied Computing Institute, the ACI I call it, will support the rapidly growing enrollment that we're seeing in the computer fields while providing more immersive experiences for our students. And enrollment in engineering is growing. Dean Paul Platowski has been planning the Innovation and Design Center, which will open in January in the Ferris Coffee and Nut facility on Winter Avenue, and we're still going to keep the coffee coming. But this facility will provide support for project-based learning, the power of the mobility, it will have the Power Mobility Lab, Product Design Lab, Digital Design Studios. But we're also going to expand our outreach to K through 12 and our applied research and development programs that support community and industry partners with programs like FIRST Robotics. Our expansions and improvements Our expenses and improvements are not simply due to new buildings, however. We're innovating in so many other areas in our academic programs and beyond, from sustainability to diversity and equity. And to help us tell our story, Associate Vice President Mary Eileen Line and Associate Vice President Rhonda Lubberts and their staffs, the consummate professionals as they are, understand our brand and share our stories and bringing Grand Valley State University to life in the region and across the globe. The Johnson Center for Philanthropy recently appointed one of my great friends and colleagues, the former Aquinas President Juan Oliveras, for a 3-year term as the Distinguished Scholar in Residence for Diversity. I've known Juan since I arrived here when he was the GRCC president. And this will advance the center's work, the Johnson Center's work, in advancing and improving inclusive practices for the not-for-profit sector. Vice President Jesse Bernal confirms our commitment to inclusion and equity has never been stronger. I won't ask him to stand because we all know who he is. We have redoubled our efforts to end sexual violence in all of its forms. In the last year, we dedicated additional resources for increased training, partnered with local law enforcement and landlords to enhance safety on campus and outside of campus, and we've added a deputy to the Title IX staff. We've also increased our victim survivor services to the Center for Women and Equity. Jesse, your leadership has been phenomenal, sir. Thank you. We have formalized focus groups to hear and respond to underrepresented employees. Our next campus climate assessment is scheduled for November 2019. We've launched an inclusive leadership development program and have a task force reviewing policies and practices to increase representation. Within that space, too, I want to just recognize one additional person in HR helping out Jesse and all of us, and that's Maureen Walsh. Please stand and be recognized. Maureen is taking the lead now in HR, and Scott couldn't be happier to have you now coming in his back, so to speak. So thank you. Well, all these efforts are embedded in our strategic plan. You know, I couldn't leave the podium without talking about our strategic plan. And we've had those efforts going forward since I've been here 12 years ago, when we started the 6 to 10, 10 to 15, now we're in 16 to 21. But you also know that part of the strategic planning efforts helps us remarkably well with our reaccreditation efforts. You've heard that time and again, and will continue until November. The HLC, the Higher Learning Commission, will be visiting our campus November 5th and 6th to reaffirm our accreditation. This is critically important to our students and for this university because we need to be accredited and in good standing for the degree to have the relevance that it has for our students. And this is a regularly scheduled visit that happens at an end of a 10-year cycle, but it's different this time than it was 10 years ago in 2008 because they are focused in on outcomes and us identifying the patterns of evidence to underscore those particular activities that we're involved with and those outcomes that align well with the standards and the quality that the HLC demands. Chris Pluff in our provost office has been reaching out to many of you, making sure that we are ready for this visit. Strategic planning, assessment, and accreditation are all integral to Grand Valley. And it maintains fundamentally our educational integrity and our promises that we make to our students and their families in the state of Michigan. And our goal here is not to just meet the standards, but to exceed the levels of quality prescribed by national and regional accrediting bodies, not just HLC, but the others within the disciplines as well. Again, a chance for all of us to lead where you are so that we will be ready in November and well beyond after that. Well, we have talked about the business of education. Now we must talk about the heart of education. And I'm going to really talk about it from the heart of what's called the Laker effect. But here is just a few examples. There's so many of them. The kinds that students are using and spreading, our students and graduates and our faculty and staff, spreading the Laker effect across the globe. Professor of geology Peter Wampler took a group of students to Haiti this summer to complete multiple service projects. They provided local residents with 150 water filtration systems that will provide clean water to families for 20 to 30 years. Ben Eastberg, a business and pre-med major, found a way to get 2 unused medical machines from a clinic here to a rural clinic in Nicaragua. Jordan Vanderham, a project design and manufacturing major, won 5 entrepreneurial competitions last year in what's called his Orindi mask. Pretty fascinating, a mask that helps outdoor workers and asthmatics by warming and humidifying the air they breathe. He won nearly $100,000 and started his own company, even without Shark Tank. A group of engineering students partnered with Beaumont Health to create a cough-assisted device to clear airways with those with muscular dystrophy and cystic fibrosis. While engineering and Cook Leadership Academy alumna Catherine Christopher co-founded a medical device startup company that provides innovative sit-to-stand devices for critical care patients. Un Fam research proposal to look at bacterial resistance to antibiotics was accepted to a prestigious undergraduate research competition held in Washington, and then she was invited to participate in this summer's undergraduate research program in Switzerland. Alumnus Ethan Mullins, working with weather chasers around the globe to advance severe weather warning systems to help protect people from storms. As Dean Fred Anzac noted, our students in liberal arts and sciences are lending their expertise and enthusiasm to projects at museums, at libraries, and zoos, and theaters, and concert halls, and hospitals, places of worship. And you can extend that out even further into our classrooms and into our political sphere, serving with a Laker effect. With our liberal arts and foundation, the Laker effect can be found in any professional career, in any place around the globe, and then locally right here as well. As Reverend Martin Luther King said, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. So as we fully embrace another year of service to our students and the lofty goal of educating them to shape their lives, their professions, and their societies, we must be stewards. We must be responsible and compassionate stewards, leaving every person that we're able to touch here in a better place than when we found them. As author Jim O'Toole, who works in the field of ethical leadership, writes, all moral and effective leaders so illuminate their followers' better sides, revealing what is good in them, and thus ultimately giving them hope. We can say the same thing for teachers, professors, those in the educational domain as we are here, whether you be a staff member, whether you be a faculty member, those from our community, those on our Board of Trustees, those that are in our leadership roles, those in shared governance. We can reveal what is good in our students and give them hope. Because by giving them hope, it gives us hope. Education always sparks hopes for the future. And I am so hopeful for the future of Grand Valley State University. We are all leaders. We are all Lakers for a lifetime, right here in this room, and those that are going to be listening now and in future opportunities that we have together. So thank you for listening today, for the good work you do for Grand Valley State University. Now is Captain Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek, The Next Generation would say, make it so. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It means so much to me and Marcia. Thank you. And we do have a few minutes. I was hoping to take about 40 minutes and right on. So any questions that you might have? I'd always like to be in the classroom, and this is just an extended my chemistry lab. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. As I mentioned within the startup meetings and before off script, what we have here is a chance to touch the students in such a positive way. If we can keep them on the path to success, therefore graduation, they will have that degree, and it's a real opportunity for them. It's a ticket for the future. So if we can redouble in our classrooms to get to know every single student that we have the noble work of engaging in the classroom or in the laboratory or in undergraduate research or in the grad study program, or when you see them in club sports, see them in other activities, it might be a musical right here with Shakespeare. I mean, all that is showing that we care for them. And I think that that really carries through, whether it be accreditation, strategic planning, all that are enablers. What comes from the heart is caring for our students. That student centricity is what it's all about. And I really appreciate that question, because we can redouble our efforts to help our students succeed. That's what it's about. Thank you. Other questions? Did I sleep much over the summer? Actually, it was a busy summer, but it was a very fulfilling summer. Didn't play much golf, and that was okay, because otherwise I have to give Butcher a lot more money. But that's true too, isn't it? But what we were able to do is balance the needs and planning ahead with our reaccreditation efforts and with our budget preparations and all, and then focusing in on some of the innovations that I know that Maria and the faculty and all are trying to put into effect now, that we slept well at night because we were working hard during the day. But in a way, too, Marcia and I were able to enjoy a little bit more time with our family, with our grandkids, and we spent the first time ever a family gathering in the Tetons. And it was great to be with our kids and grandkids and exploring that part of the world. But what was really important, I thought, was coming back to West Michigan, and when our kids and grandkids decided that, you know, the Tetons they were great, but swimming in Thomas Lake and Gowan was even better. Don't you think? Yeah, without a doubt. So, but we were able to really rest well at night because we work hard on behalf of our students and each other, and for those that are investing in this, what we call the investment in the public good. And so I really appreciate that question. Thank you. Other questions, please. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, if you could stand and... Well, I'm going to go ahead and, Matt, could you turn around and share that briefly?
He's going to be replaced. Thank you for stating the obvious, right? The Board of Trustees and Victor and Megan are here. Whoop. And Megan is one of the trustees serving on the advisory committee, Ellen Shandell, I see, and other members of the advisory committee will be meeting with prospective candidates early in the fall and making recommendations to the Board of Trustees about who they ought to be considering as final candidates. The board expects to be able to make an appointment of Tom's successor before the end of this calendar year and have the new president join on the occasion of Tom's departure, June 30th of 2019. So it's on track, moving smoothly, and I think in fine fashion from what I can see so far. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Okay, other questions? Yes, ma'am. Dottie Johnson.
Do you think with the potential change of administrations and the whole legislative scene that anything will change to Grand Valley's advantage with financial contribution from the state?
I have to be honest. No. No. And Matt would probably echo that with the type. Wasn't that something like dueling trumpets at whatever? But that doesn't dissuade me from trying to educate some of the newer legislators in why they need to invest in schools just like Grand Valley State University. So we're gonna pick them off one at a time. And already I've heard from a few legislative folks that are going to be going to Lansing for the first time, coming to us, asking us questions, and saying, I'm not smart yet, we need your help. I appreciate that, so I'm going to say no with a qualification. Maybe with this, some of the changes that we see with individuals, we can pick them off, educate them to why it's so important to invest in this public good at Grand Valley, that maybe we can make a difference. So I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to say no with a qualifier. I'm going to be optimistic because of that outreach that we've already seen from some of the newer legislative officials that will be there maybe a few years because of term limits. And we have some friends in the Senate already, so I think that's good. So qualified, no. Optimistic, yes. We're going to go ahead and redouble our efforts so they understand the quality quotient that we're providing to the state of Michigan and the relevance and the value that we have to the citizens of this great state. Yes, sir. Dr. Schaub.
You have shaped and changed this institution for getting close to 13 years. Has GVSU changed you?
Every day. It truly has. Not my core values, but in my sense of how important it is to have that student centricity. Day in and day out, I come back to the notion that we are here to serve them. And it has changed me and reinforced that fundamental principle we have as educators, and to help them understand the potential they have. And I redouble that every single day. It could be in a selfie with a student, and I had a couple coming on over here, okay? Or it could be in Chemistry 115 when I get to teach a little bit, or when I'm going to some of the events that we have here at the university. I think it has changed us, but not our core. Our core was still in that sense of being good stewards for our future. But I look forward to learning. Lifelong learning is part of Marcia and I mantra. We want to learn every single day. We want to learn about being servant leaders. So yeah, it changes us every day, but not our core, but how we can then adapt ourselves to the changing dynamics of our students and of our environment as well. That's a great question to be asked. And so changing our core, no. Adapting to the needed change for our students and in our environment, absolutely, day in and day out. Thank you for that. One last one. Okay. One other person I wanted to introduce, it wasn't in my remarks, but since I see him over here, the provost would say, why didn't you do it? Our new dean of students. Please stand. I look forward to working with Lauren as well. And you never know what's going to happen at President's Ball. You're already online. Okay. And maybe with the provost, too. Well, thank you. We have a convocation to get to, but thank you for coming here this morning. And again, let's have a great year, and we're going to support each other as that team called Grand Valley State University. Thank you all, and God bless.